Can we just calm down? Oh, that's my breakfast. What time is it? It's like 11:14 a.m. on the 11th of October. In the last video, she was just perched up on top of the couch like a little angel, and now she's eating my socks. I haven't been able to take her outside lately because she's in heat, and Rottweilers and pit bulls can smell her from a mile away, and it's very scary getting attacked by a pit bull so that they can penetrate your daughter. It can be a little bit much. It can be a little alarming sometimes. So that's her just having these like convulsions in her ovaries. Yeah. So I thought it would be fun to let you know a few of my favorite things. So like, obviously I'm an artist. I have a fondness for art and music, being that I'm, a singer, songwriter / painter, right? But I love the fall, autumn. I love the autumnal breeze, fall fashion. And there are some items at Trader Joe's that just really get me going, okay? Especially this season. First and foremost, the very best thing, I think, that is available at Trader Joe's, unexpected cheddar. Oh, I can put that on anything. Anything. I also really love egg tacos, like breakfast tacos. Oh, so good. Breakfast tacos with like the green salsa, eggs, the salsa on like a carb conscious wrap. I've never made homemade tortillas, but I've always wanted to. I feel like they would be so good. If you have a recipe or you have all the materials to make it, feel free to like let me know so that we can make a whole night out of it. But I'm sorry, I'm looking at a plate of cheese on my desk and I really want it. Oh, I do need to go check on my breakfast. Give me one moment.
One eternity later.
I feel so inspired right now in my life to share my thoughts, and not just my thoughts actually, also just the way that I go about life. I feel like it's pretty unique, and I don't want to bore everyone or like put you guys to sleep, but sometimes that thought comes to mind because I'm often complimented that I have a really soothing voice, but I feel like, I don't want to confuse anyone. I'm not trying to put you to sleep. Like, I do want your full attention. This is a little concoction I made. It's Rise Energy Country Time Lemonade. So it definitely has caffeine, but I put it in like a Welch's bottle. Oh my gosh. I got a ticket yesterday. I got a ticket because I had one of those Surfside tea vodka drinks. And I just, I was sipping on it. I had like maybe 3 sips. And I was in Union Square and I got pulled over. It's like when you live in New York, you are the vehicle. I didn't know that I could get in trouble for that. I was rewriting a text I was going to send to someone. And this police officer was just like, "Excuse me, you have an open container." And I was like, "Oh." Like, I thought that it was illegal if it was like you're driving with an open container, but I didn't know it was illegal that you're just walking around with like a can. And maybe that's my own ignorance. I really didn't know that. So, got a ticket. And I really just didn't. First of all, I love those teas. Surfside teas. Sponsor me, please. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know I couldn't just like crack a can open, have a cold one in Union Square. I didn't know that was like illegal, But anyway, yeah, like no one taught. Who was supposed to teach you that? Like it's not like my mom taught me that. My mom doesn't really drink. I don't think she even likes iced tea anymore. I know she had an iced tea phase, but I don't even think she likes iced tea anymore. Nor does like my dad doesn't drink either, and neither of them are from New York. Like maybe the laws are different, and I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, also, I've seen people get in trouble, or sorry, I misspoke, not get in trouble for much worse things, you know? And this is going to sound crazy, but I once found myself on the train. There was this homeless woman that was going around to each car. Sorry if I'm trauma dumping right now, but this homeless woman was like going around to each car, and I had my headphones in. I was just like, hopefully she doesn't bother me. I wasn't praying for her or anything like that. I was just like, I really hope she doesn't bother me or anybody around me, or anyone for that matter. I hope she just, does her thing. And sure enough, she comes right up to me, asks me for money, and then starts crying like this close to my face, and her like spit starts like spatting everywhere, and it was awful. And I was just like, whoa. I didn't realize how much it would hurt her feelings that I had headphones on. I prefer to protect my energy. So like when someone's on drugs and like entering a train car, I'm not expecting them to like be so close to me. And it was a really scary experience and a little traumatizing. I mean, the people around me were like nervously smiling, not doing anything about it. And that was crazy. But after I made my first podcast yesterday, like my first visual podcast, because this is a new thing for me, I got on the train to go somewhere and I had my headphones on. It was kind of an empty car. There were like maybe 4 people in there. And there was this guy who was pretty cracked out in the middle of the train car. And the fact that you can't get in trouble for being cracked out, but you can get in trouble for an open container that you've taken 2 sips of, that's definitely not going to get you drunk. Like this thing tastes like iced tea. It's 4.5% alcohol, and I planned to only have 1 drink at this sushi bar that I was going to meet my friend at, but I knew I wasn't going to want to drink sake, so I was like, I'll just have this. It'll be chill. Did not realize that was illegal. Had no idea. Anyway, I get on this train after I make the first podcast, and I see this guy kind of cracked out, but I've got another like 2 minutes that I need to be in this train car, so I'm not going to move quite yet because he's not freaking out. But I took my headphones off just to kind of observe, right? And then I see this guy, this like really tall black guy, probably in like his early 60s. He's good looking, he looks strong, he looks healthy, and kind of fashionable too. And I see him and he's looking at the ground like this. Right? With slight smile, with his hand like this, just like looking at a spot on the floor. And I see him because I'm sitting like diagonal from him. And I felt compelled to ask him what he was smiling about, something I never ask, I never really ask people, hey, what are you smiling about over there? I don't really do that. But I felt like I kind of want to ask him what he's smiling about. Like I have this urge to ask him what he's smiling about. So I look over at him, and then I look over at the guy who's like cracked out, and I was like, oh, maybe he's feeling weary of that guy. And I'm thinking, I'm glad I took my headphones off because I need to be like awake and aware of the world around me. This guy seems fully aware of his surroundings. Even though he's like smiling, staring at the floor, I'm like, I wonder what he's thinking, So finally, the next stop arrives. When a stop arrives, you can like exit the train, go to the next car if you need to. And I see him do just that. I see him exit the train and go to the next car. And I was right behind him. I was like, I'm going to move to another car too. I walk all the way down to the end of the next car to have a seat. And the same man who was staring at the floor smiling stands right next to me, right? And I'm thinking, what is going on here? I should say something. So I look over at him and I'm like, hey, you were in the car back there, right? And he's like, oh yeah, I was there. What were you smiling about back there? What was that? And he was like, oh, well, that guy, he was just out of his mind. And I thought, yeah, he definitely was. I was thinking the same thing. And I was like, but what were you smiling about? And he was like, oh no, I was praying. And immediately I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Because if I hadn't seen him putting in the mental energy to pray for safety and protection in that moment, I just would not have thought to move cars, And it's little, tiny little moments like that, observing moments like that, human moments that really keep us safe and connected, show the power of connection. And I introduced myself and I asked him what his name was, or his name's Russell. And I was just like, thank you, Russell. Because you never know. If I hadn't looked up and seen him do that, I mean, just the way that these little decisions kind of ripple effect into the rest of your life is amazing. That was a fun story. I hope I told it well. I told you in the way that it processed in my mind, because I was definitely relating the two experiences to each other. My experience with the homeless woman who was like spitting everywhere, like that was really crazy. And then the cracked out guy who, thankfully Russell was praying for us. And I think maybe that's part of what stopped him from acting a fool. I don't know. I'm a little bit scared to do this because, I do journal quite a bit, and I find it to be a huge release when I journal, because a lot of times I'm able to process my thoughts, whether they're like, kind of negative thinking patterns. I'm able to like see them and notice when I'm kind of stepping out of myself. It makes me much more aware of like what thoughts I'm having that are authentic to me and which ones I'm having that are kind of based on conditioning. So with that said, I have a good friend who is in a process, actually two friends, that are reorienting themselves right now. One of them, she got her Instagram taken down. I think people were like flagging her a lot because she's very provocative. That girl is reorienting herself. And then another person in my life who, when I met them, they were a woman. And then around like, I think early 20s, they transitioned into being a man. And in that time, they were like on hormone therapy. So their voice changed. I think they got like top surgery. And now they're in a place where they're going back to their original name, going back to being a woman, and they're just like flooded with hormones. So a lot of reorientation taking place. And that happens to me in little tiny ways, reorienting when I'm writing, because I'll notice like when a thought is, when I feel like I can let go of a thought, like I'll write it down, like maybe I don't know if I'm going to sell any of my art. I'll read that and I'll be like, wait, why would you even say that? You could be putting yourself out there more. You could be making YouTube videos where you just let people know that you're an artist. Like there are so many things you could do in order to change that thought from being, I don't know, to it's possible, and then to, oh, I just sold my first painting or something like that. I mean, I've sold quite a few, but like this is just an example. Anyway, Miami 2025. So I'm going to be reading like some entries, some diary entries. I went to Miami with a couple friends, Val and Nino Disco. They're artists, and Val was having a show. Val had just introduced me to this really cool opportunity with music, and I wanted to show my support, for her for her music, for her success, and I was like, fuck it, I'll go to Miami. I had never been to Miami, and I thought, this is going to be a really fun experience because Miami, I mean, people shorten it MIA, so like I'm going to be seeing my name everywhere. Like, what a cool experience, Honestly, I loved it. Miami 2025, August 10th, 9:30 a.m. So I feel like the whole trip, hold on. Whoa. So I feel like the whole trip was just an excuse to get away from the city and my partner for a bit, but also to keep Val company because she's been going through a lot with Roger. I'm glad I went because that quote, "we only get 80 summers if we're lucky," would have drove me fucking crazy. If I hadn't gone, it would have drove me crazy if I hadn't gone, and it does make me feel like I invested in our friendship for sure. I was surprised I allowed myself to get so upset with her. She received it so well. Okay, so there was this situation where she wanted to take pictures on the beach, but it was like the sun was going down, it was really cloudy, and like there are just better places to take pictures in Miami, So I was like, can we go back over there? Like, is that possible? And she was just like, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And I was like, I have to go. Like, I got really upset. And I was like, she received it so well. I feel respected, loved, and appreciated by Val, and I trust her as a person. I admire her. I think this trip was a really good idea. It wasn't the easiest to pull off, but we made it happen. I'm proud of her and Roger, and I think it probably brought them closer in a lot of ways. I really enjoyed the dinner at Laganape. I think it's called Laganape. This place, they like specialize in ceviche, so they had like 30 different kinds of ceviche. I should have gotten ceviche. I think I got like paella. It was kind of like paella. It was so good. I had been wanting to experience a group. Oh, Laganape was this other place, actually. Laganape was very European style outdoor seating, and it was cool. It was like outdoor seating. It was nighttime, and they had ordered like a plate of cheese and meats and stuff, and everyone was drinking rosé, but I don't really like rosé unless it's like daytime brunch situation. So I had like a hard cider, and I'm sitting down with everyone, and it was nice. It was really nice. But yeah, totally different place from the ceviche place. My mistake. I misspoke. So everyone from the Airbnb showed up. Before this moment, everyone was doing their own thing. Like, we were all staying in the same Airbnb. It was like a couple, another couple, a single girl, and me, myself. I'm not single, but I mean, I was there alone. Everyone was kind of doing their own thing up until that point, and then we all met there, and it was beautiful. It was really nice. It was really fun. And, we're all sharing meats and cheeses and talking about life and stuff. So anyway, I had been wanting to experience a group connection like this for a long time. I'm happy they were so welcoming of my involvement because I'm just like her friend. I'm kind of just a groupie in their little mix. Sorry, this is like so far away and the font is tiny. Like, why is it so small? Why can't I zoom in? I don't really do like diary entries very often in my laptop or like on my phone, but if I don't have pen and paper with me, I typically do this, Okay, so I'm gonna finish up this one. The whole Miami experience was great, but it was definitely not what I was expecting at all. Like, I thought I was gonna go to the beach. I thought the beach was gonna be nice. I was just kind of disappointed, not gonna lie, but it's fine. Near the end of the trip, Roger said something along the lines of, "I really enjoyed our friendship because we think so much alike. I really appreciate your ability to process and plan so efficiently." It was a great compliment, something most people don't even notice about me. Also enjoyed the sunset swim in South Beach with Yasin. My friend Yasin from New York visited Miami when I was out there. Can't believe he booked a flight to MIA so spontaneously. He was still jet lagged from his trip to Italy. He really wants a girlfriend. I wish I could find him one, but I've also thoroughly enjoyed having him all to myself. He's a great friend. I kind of miss him. Honestly, I did have the thought of I should just keep to myself from now on while I was out there, but that's a little absurd. I need to keep my friendships alive. We had this hilarious conversation at lunch yesterday about me hosting a couples role switch party, and I'm thinking I want to invite a bunch of other couples over to act like each other. Such a fun costume gag. So I'm throwing this thing called a switch party where you have to act like your partner. And I'm really excited about it, but I feel like at the moment, I don't really have enough couples attending. I need to get more couples to attend. So if you know a good couple for this, that they would be able to play each other for the whole night, please let me know. And also, if you're single, you can just play your ex. You can just pretend to be your ex. The more you get into the role, the better. So like the person who stays in character the longest wins a prize. Haven't decided what the prize will be yet, but yeah. Also, my friend Maria, I tend to have a lot of random stuff in like one little section of my notes app. And I showed it to my friend Maria and she was like, oh yeah, word grocery. It's like, a bunch of words, your thoughts, maybe some poetry, a grocery list or two. Yeah, it's word grocery. And I was like, wow, that's a great way to put it, right? So this is my word grocery. I'm going to go through it with you. This is me being very vulnerable here, okay? A collection of things I've found interesting, overheard, theorized, contemplated, taken note of, okay? My friend Maria, she says that every man and his friend have read this book by Rick Rubin. I don't know what the name of the book is. I called it Period. But this is what it looks like. And it seems to be interesting. Philosophical, I suppose. I haven't read it, but we'll look into it a little bit after this. So she said that, and then she said the first person I guess she's met, or the person who like really lives by this book. Butter, quiet. The person who like lives by this book, he texted me, I have cooties, and it was the most neurodivergent thing he could say. Which I disagree with. I feel like if someone says they have cooties, they're like channeling their inner child, but that's just how she took it, Oh yeah, I overheard in the bathroom at Lebain. I'm very innocent. I'm very Anne Hathaway from A Random Girl. So I quoted a random girl. Overheard on the in train, I almost used darkness as my last focus point. So they said focus point, not focal point, but they used darkness as their last focus point. That was interesting, piqued my interest. It's interesting how I'm starting to bite the inside of my mouth again all of a sudden. Since my partner's been away. Oh, anti-pheromones, a movie plot, repelling admirers with anti-pheromones. I guess it could be like a perfume or some kind of fragrance that you wear that repels people. Could be interesting. And it doesn't really have to smell like anything. Like the way I imagine it is like this scentless thing that just naturally repels people, but it's not like stinky or anything like that. It just emits an aura of like a shield, That would be really cool. That'd be so cool. Anyway, on a half sunny bench off 85th and Madison, two young girls around 17 sat next to each other. One sat in the sun while the other was in the shade. The one in the shade looks over to the one in the sun and says, "Bitch, kill yourself. You're over here glistening in the sun while I'm lurking in the shade." that blew my mind, because I was like, wow, the way that teenagers like speak to each other nowadays, that was brash. And the one that was sitting in the sun was just like, ah, you know, like she was like feeling herself. She was just like, ah, you're the best. Like she almost took it like a compliment, you know? That was so cute. Like it was really a cute moment, because this other friend in the shade is like so intense. I do feel like I was a bit too emotionally vulnerable with one of my friends, telling him about this situation I was in with my cousin, my female cousin, who just kind of took a lot out of me at a very, very important time in my life. And I had to like give her, or didn't have to, but I gave her a lot of my energy. And I was talking to my friend about this, and I felt kind of strange that I opened up to him so much about it, because I don't know, it was just kind of unnecessary. Like I didn't need to go that deep, you know what I mean? Anyway, The Boat I Row by Tame Impala, I love that song so much. I have a friend named John, and I thought to myself, I want to send him that song, The Boat I Row by Tame Impala, but I'll wait to share it with him. He seems like he needs some space. He was devastated when I told him I have a boyfriend. I didn't realize he wanted more than a friendship. I wish there weren't so much stigma for men about befriending attractive women. This shouldn't be an issue. I wish more men could be like Tyler. I really appreciate his maturity and ability to connect with me platonically. In LES today, someone hit on me. You remind me of ordinary apple juice. So sweet. I was like, okay. Also, when I was walking back home from somewhere, I saw this mural. It's an acronym, I guess, for, well, think. It asks the question, is it true, honest, interesting, notable, kind? Think. It spells out think. It was a mural on the playground of a school, and I just thought, wow, they're making a big difference in the world right there with that mural. Oh, a relationship amendment. I feel like relationships should be able to have amendments. You know, you should be able to amend the constitution of your relationship. So making amendments to a relationship over time when certain boundaries or obligations have been agreed upon but then disregarded by one or both partners. This is to hold ourselves accountable for our words and actions and establish order and respect. I definitely feel like relationship amendments should be a thing. Oh, also, I met up with a friend, my friend Matt, and I guess he knows someone who has this thing called DID, and they have like multiple personalities, and they like jump into each personality like throughout the day. So I thought it would be cool to fall in love with someone like that. Like the idea, the concept of falling in love with someone with multiple personalities, and like, you know, understanding each personality and accepting each personality and falling in love with that would be just epic. Like the storyline would be just so interesting. There's a movie recommendation. I think this movie came out in like, I want to say the 20s, but then it was remade in the 50s. It's called The End of Camille. I thought I wanna watch that. It looks exciting. And then I have like my pharmacy address, patient portal, you know, random stuff. This is a word grocery, so, you know, these kind of things pop up. Oh, I have some ideas for my music video, which I'm filming the other half of tomorrow. Very excited about that. A movie recommendation for Point Break, which I haven't seen, but I went to watch the play Waiting for Godot with my friend Erin the other day, and I just couldn't believe I was seeing Keanu Reeves with my own eyes. Wow, that was really interesting. I mean, I haven't seen like all of the Matrix movies, but to see him with my own eyes was just fascinating. Then I have a recommendation for a facial massage / lymphatic drainage massage with hands. So I can leave the link for that actually in the description of this video. This video is just so many different elements over the past like 6 months. Like this is a jam-packed video. I've got a lot of suggestions and thoughts and things like that in this video, and I'm so glad you're sticking around if you're still here. Like, I really appreciate that. Oh, I just told this story actually earlier. Story time, real life. I walk into a train car. It's a little empty. A guy on drugs not too far away. Russell, a stranger next to me, stood smiling, looking down. His expression perplexed me. I wondered why he was smiling, so I took my headphones off before asking. He moved over to the next car. I followed. I asked him what he was thinking about over there. Oh, I saw that guy. He looked crazy. Then I said, yeah, but what were you thinking about when you smiled and looked down? I asked. He smiled and said, I was praying. So lovely. Thank you, Russell. A book recommendation, The Surrender Experiment. I haven't read this and I know nothing about it, but a friend of mine suggested it. And also, I'm thinking about getting a pet fish. Because I have a dog, I have a lot of plants, I have a gecko. I'm thinking if I get a fish, it would really feel like a whole ecosystem. I'm really good at like taking care of everyone. So like taking care of all these things, like making sure the plants are fed, my dog is fed and happy and walked. Having a fish would be fun. I don't know. I haven't had a fish in a long time. I'm thinking about getting 2 fish. If you have any suggestions for the fish, let me know. But I do want to get 2 fish. I used to have a betta fish, so I couldn't get a betta fish if I wanted to have 2, unless I got separate bowls for them. But I'm strongly considering getting a fish. So that's my full word grocery, and those are my stories, and that was my little diary entry. And I'll leave all the like suggestions for stuff in the description of this video. Like I said, I'm an artist. I'm a singer, songwriter, painter, videographer, photographer, editor, and friend. So, follow me on Instagram and share this video if you liked what you heard. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.